Alright, student, we go over O6. Solve quadratic equation using quadratic formula. So step number one is identify ABC. So I'm going to go and identify ABC. So that's step number one. So let's 1 second. Okay. Step number one, identify ABC. Okay. A. Okay. A equal, B equal, and then C equal. So A is a coefficient in front of the variable square. If you don't see a number, it's a hit the number one. Okay? So you have A equal 1. B is a number right in front of the variable x. So in this case, negative 10. C is a constant. So in this case, number 1. So that's step number 1. Step number 2, you find the discriminant delta. This triangle is called delta. Delta is a Greek character, so let's spell it out. Delta, okay, is equal b squared subtract 4ac, okay? So delta equal b squared subtract 4ac, okay? So let's put the number in. B is right here. B is negative 10. A is number 1 right here. And then C also number 1. Okay? So now we come out as triangle equal negative 10 squared, that's 100. Negative 4 times 1 times 1 is negative 4. Become 96. Okay? So 96. Ooh. 96 actually equals 16 times 6. Okay, so 4 squared times 6. Okay, the reason we want to prep for this because when we put the delta inside the square root, we can simplify. So now step number 3, substitute ABC and delta value into quadratic formula, which is x equal subtract b plus minus square root of b squared subtract 4ac over 2a. Okay? Subtract b plus minus, but b squared subtract 4ac, that's a delta. Okay? Over 2a. Alright, so now we can put it in.
That's you?
Here we go. Subtract b, put it in parentheses, plus minus square root delta over 2a. Okay. So now, and go and find the b. Here's the b, negative 10. Alright, put negative 10. Delta will already come out. Okay. 4 squared times 6. 4 squared times 6. And then a right here equal number 1. So I put right here. Okay. So now I come out, negative become plus 10. Okay, plus minus square root of 4 squared times 6. So 4 squared I would move outside, that's a number 4. Square root of 6, and then over 2. Now I simplify and I'm done. 10 simplified by 2, that's a 5. Plus minus, I just rewrite 4 divided by 2, that's a 2. Square root of 6. So I put in my answer box 5 plus 2 square root of 6, and then 5 subtract 2 square root of 6. Alright, so 2 answer. Okay, I put right here 5 plus 2 square root of 6. Okay, if you want to do it fast, you can do this. Control A to highlight it. Control C to copy, and then you go to the second box, you put Control V. So now the important test is change the plus sign to the negative sign. All right. So two solution. One with the plus sign, one with the negative sign. Okay. Submit. Voila. So now let's do question number 2. Similarly, we repeat the same 3 steps. Okay. Step number 1, identify A, B, and C. Okay, so let's go and find A right here. A is the number in front of x squared, but you don't see a number, that's a hidden number 1. Okay, so that's a hidden number 1. B is the number in front of x, in this case number 3. And then C is a constant, in this case negative 11. Do not forget the negative sign. Okay? So now step number 2, you go to find the discriminant delta again. It's equal B squared subtract 4AC. So B squared, I put in parentheses, square, subtract 4 parentheses, and parentheses. Okay? Now, let's go and find the B. That's the number 3, right there. Subtract 4A, A is number 1, and then C, negative 11. Okay? So I come out, 3 squared, that's the number 9. Subtract. Okay, let me emphasize right here. Subtract right here, and then subtract right here, become plus. Okay, become plus. Okay? 4 times 11 is 44. So together is a 53. 53 is a prime number. So if you take square root 53, you cannot simplify further. Okay? So that makes simple. Step number 3, substitute A, B, C, and delta into quadratic formula, which is x equal subtract b plus minus square root of b squared subtract 4ac over 2a. Okay? But you know that b squared subtract 4ac, which is right here, b squared subtract 4ac, that's the delta, that's alright? So now I just go and put the delta right here, okay? And over 2a. Okay? So now we put the value in. Here we go. Subtract b plus minus square root of delta over 2a. Okay. So now let's go and find the b. The b is right here, number 3. So I put the b number 3. Delta, we have it. It's 53. Alright? We find delta 53. And then over 2a, a equal 1. So right here, okay? So now, when you write your answer, make sure you write 2 separate fractions, okay? Otherwise, I won't take it, okay? So now, break them apart. Subtract 3 over 2 plus minus, and then square root of 53 over 2, okay? So I put my answer right here in the first box. Okay. So first I put fraction. On top I put subtract 3. On the bottom I put number 2. Alright. Then plus sign. Fraction again. On top I put square root of 53. And on bottom I put number 2. Okay. For the second answer, I just highlight Control A, Control C, and then go to the second box. I just put Control V, and then I change the plus side to the negative side. So look at the highlights, you can see it. You see it right there, that's the plus side, alright? So make sure I change it to negative side. So let's go and change it right here. Negative side. Okay, I submit. Here we go. Terrific. Okay, so we on level 2 now. Okay, so we repeat the same step. Okay, step number 1. Step number 1, right there. Let's rewrite that a little bit. Okay, let's find A, B, and then C. Okay, so A Right here, you don't see a number, but you see negative sign. It is negative 1. Okay? So I put A as negative 1. B, B is a number in front of X, which is negative 6. And then C is a constant, it's negative 25. Okay, that's step number 1. Step number 2, we find the discriminant delta. Okay, it is equal b squared subtract 4ac. So let's put it in b squared subtract 4ac. So b is right here, negative 6. I put it in. Subtract 4a, negative 1, and then c, negative 25. Ooh. So now, pay attention. Negative 6, when you square, it is 36. Negative 6 times negative 6, that's 36. Okay? So now you can see you got negative sign times another negative sign that become positive, but multiply with negative sign one more time, so that become negative. Okay? And then 4 times 25, that's 100. Okay? So that come out 64. Ooh, negative 64. Almost forget. Negative 64. Okay. But negative 64 is equal 64 times negative 1. We need to substitute I squared for negative 1. The reason, if you put in your calculator, you cannot take square root of a negative number. So you have to convert negative 1 to I squared. So now, negative 64 becomes 64I squared. Okay. So now we move on to step number 3. So substitute ABC and delta into quadratic formula, which is equal x equal subtract b plus minus square root of b squared subtract 4ac over 2a. Alright, so we put it in, subtract b plus minus, but b squared subtract 4ac, it is the delta. You see that? So over here, I just put delta and then over 2a. Okay. So now, let's put it down. Subtract b in parentheses plus minus square root of delta over 2a. So let's go and find this value. B is right here, negative 6. Okay. Plus minus delta is 64I squared. 64I squared. Okay? And then A is negative 1. Negative. So now we just simplify and then we're done. Okay? Negatives, negative become plus 6. Okay, so we substitute in, and now negative 6 become plus 6. Okay, plus 6. You can do a little bit slow, it's not a big deal. Plus 6 plus minus square root 64, that's an 8. And square root I squared, that's an I. Okay, and on the bottom is negative 2. One more time, simplify. 6 divided by negative 2, that is negative 3. Okay, and now 8, you simplify by 2, that's a 4. Okay, so I. Plus divide by negative, that's a minus. And then minus divide by minus, that becomes positive. Okay, so you come out at negative 3 plus 4i, and then negative 3 subtract 4i. Okay, so I put in the box. Here we go. Negative 3 plus 4. Letter I you get from your keyboard. Okay? Subtract 3, subtract 4i. Okay, that's it. Submit. Voila. Okay. We will move on to level 3. Okay. So we repeat the same 3 steps. Step number 1, identify A, B, and C. Okay. So A again is a value in front of x squared, so that's a 7. B is the value in front of x, that's a 2. And then C, a value in front of number is a constant, that's a number 1. Okay, so step 1 is done. Now step number 2, we need to find the discriminant delta equal b squared subtract 4ac. B squared subtract 4a and then c. So b, that's a number 2. Subtract 4a, that's a 7. And then c, that's a number 1. Okay. So I come out right here. 2 squared, that's a 2 times 2, that's a 4. Subtract 4 times 7, that is 28. So I come out negative 24. Okay. Negative 24 equal 24, maybe I use the blue color, 24I squared. Okay. Ooh, but 24, I'm going to break it down at 4 times 6, which is 2 squared times 6, and then I squared. Okay? Because we're going to put this value inside the square root, so we need to simplify. So we prep for it. So now step number 3, same thing. We substitute A, B, C, and delta into quadratic formula, which is x equal subtract b plus minus square root of b squared subtract 4ac over 2a. So subtract b plus minus, but b squared subtract 4ac, it is the delta. Alright, so I can put the delta right here and then 2 divided by 2a. Okay, so now we substitute in, subtract b in parentheses plus minus square root of delta over 2a. Okay, let's go and find b. B is right here, number 2. Okay, delta is right there. 2 squared, 6i squared. Okay, over 2a. A is happen to be 7. So I put it right there. Okay, so now we simplify. So negative 2 on top, plus minus 2 squared inside the square root, I will move it outside, that's number 2. I squared inside the square root, I move outside, that's I. So the only thing that we cannot simplify, that's a number 6 inside the square root. Okay? On the bottom, I got 14. Okay? Now, I just simplify one more time. Okay? Right here. Negative 2 over 14, that negative 1 over 7. Okay? Plus minus 2 over 14, that is 7. So I put 7 on the bottom. So on top, I still have I and square root of 6. Okay? So two answer, one with the plus. So let's write the first one first. Fraction negative 1 over 7. Okay? Plus, and then fraction again, I square root of 6 over 7. Okay, so make sure you break down your answer at 2 fractions. So I can copy, Control A, highlight everything, Control C, copy, go to the other box, I put Control V, and then I just change the plus sign. Here's the plus sign, I change to the negative sign. Okay, so I go and do that right now. Change to negative sign. Alright, so now I'm done. I submit. Voila. Okay, let's do one more time. One more time. Okay. So we repeat the same step. Step number 1, identify A, B, C. Okay. So A equal, doesn't come out. Maybe I should move this up a little bit more. Okay, let's do that. Okay. Step number one, identify A, B, and C. So A, again, that's a coefficient in front of x squared, in this case number 4. B is a coefficient in front of x, that's number 5. And then C is number 2. Okay, so that's step number 1. Now step number 2, we need to find the discriminant delta equal B squared subtract 4AC. Okay, so I substitute B squared subtract 4A and C. So let's do the substitution. B, that's the number 5, right there. Subtract 4A. A is the number 4, and then C number 2. Okay? So you can enter these values into your calculator if you want. 5 squared, that's a 25. 5 times 5, 25. Subtract 4 times 4, that's 16. 16 times 2, that's a 32. So I come out negative 7. Okay? But instead of negative 7, I would put as 7I squared. So now, step number 3, I just substitute A, B, C, and delta into quadratic formula. X equal subtract B plus minus square root of B squared subtract 4AC over 2A. Okay, so now substitute, but you know that square root B squared subtract 4AC, that's a delta. Okay, so I will put the delta right here inside the square root. This is the delta. Okay, over 2A. Now let's substitute in. Subtract B, I put in parentheses, plus minus square root of delta over 2A. Okay, so let's go and find the B. B is number 5. Right there. Delta, we already calculate, it come out 7I squared, and then over 2A. A is number 4. Okay, number 4. So now, let's simplify. Okay, subtract 5 plus minus I squared inside the square root, I could move outside. So inside the square root, I think we still have 7. 2 times 4, that is number 8. And then simplify, so I break this down at 2 fractions. So I got negative 5 over 8. Plus minus I times square root of 7 over 8. Okay, so I enter into the 2 boxes of here. One with the plus side and one with the negative side. Okay, subtract 5 over 8. Move your cursor over, plus, I do the fraction again. I, do not forget the I. Square root of 7 over 8. Okay, so if I want to do fast for the second box, I would highlight everything by using Control A, and I do Control C to copy, and then to paste I do Control V on the second box. So again, after pasting, I would change the plus sign into the negative side. Okay, so let's do that. Here we go. Negative side. Alright, I'm done. Submit. That's it, you guys. Thank you so much for your attention.